At some point in every hard effort, the voice starts, you know the one, this is too hard, you're gonna blow up, just back off a little. Why are you even doing this? Everyone has that voice. The question is what you do with it. Most athletes let it run. They listen to it, they believe it, and they slow down. Not because their body couldn't continue, but because their head told them to stop. Self-talk is the skill of taking control of that voice, replacing the noise with something useful. It sounds simple, it is simple, but the research shows it's one of the most effective mental tools in endurance sport. So this video today explains how self-talk actually works, what to say, when to say it, and how to build your own phrases that work under pressure. First, the mechanism. Why does talking to yourself actually change performance? It comes down to the perception of effort. How hard something feels is not purely a physical signal. It's constructed by your brain. Your brain takes inputs, lactate, heart rate, muscle tension, glycogen status, and produces a feeling. That feeling is what you experience as effort. Now here's the key. That perception can be influenced. It's not fixed. What you're thinking affects how hard those efforts feel. In a landmark study, trained cyclists were taught to use motivational self-talk over 2 weeks. Encouraging words during hard efforts at post-test, they rode 18% longer to exhaustion at the same power output. Same watts, same physiology, but they lasted longer because the effort felt more manageable. The self-talk group also reported lower perceived exertion at the same time points. The researchers concluded that this was the first clear evidence that self-talk can alter the subjective difficulty of exercise. You're not just changing your fitness, you're changing how your brain interprets the signals. That's why self-talk works. It interrupts the narrative, the one that says stop, and replaces it with something that keeps you going. So self-talk falls into two main categories. Motivational self-talk is about drive, effort, persistence. Keep pushing, you've got this, stay strong. Instructional self-talk is about technique execution. Relax your shoulders, smooth pedal stroke, cadence steady. Both have value, but they do different things. Research consistently shows motivational self-talk is more effective for endurance tasks. When the goal is to sustain effort and push through discomfort, motivational phrases perform better. So instructional self-talk is more effective for precision tasks, fine motor skills, technique under fatigue. A study with amateur triathletes compared the two directly. One group used motivational phrases during a 750-meter swim. The other used instructional cues. The motivational group improved their swim time by about 2 to 3%. The instructional group showed no significant change. Now, both groups reported similar perceived effort, but only the motivational group expected a faster performance and delivered one. This doesn't mean that instructional self-talk is useless. Far from it. When you're fatiguing or your form is falling apart, a technical cue could be exactly what you need, like relax your grip, lift your knees, smooth through the bottom of the stroke. The point is to use the right type at the right time. So here's how to think about it. Early in a race or a hard session, when you're relatively fresh, instructional self-talk helps you settle, find your rhythm and execute the plan. Hold back, find the pace, smooth and controlled, breathe, relax. As the effort builds and fatigue sets in, motivational self-talk becomes more important. This is when the negative voice gets louder. This is when you need something to fight back with. Keep pushing. You've done this before. Stay in it. Research on marathon runners found that around the 30k mark, where the wall would typically hit, self-talk made the difference between pushing through and falling apart. The runners who planned self-talk at that critical point of the race were more likely to overcome the crisis and finish strong. The ones who didn't, they slowed, failed to meet their goal. The most effective phrases at the wall were things like, stay on it, don't give up. I'll be proud of myself when I push through this. Stay calm, you can do it. Simple, direct, used at the moment when everything in your body is telling you to stop. So the pattern is instructional early, motivational when it hurts. Some athletes will blend them throughout. A technical reminder to reset form, followed by a motivational push to maintain effort, like relax the shoulders, now drive. Find what works for you, but know that when you're deep in that pain cave, motivational phrases are usually what gets you through it. So here's where it gets personal. The research is clear on this one point. Personalized self-talk works better than generic phrases, especially for experienced athletes. A study comparing elite and novice athletes found that elites performed better with self-chosen phrases. Generic or coach-prescribed phrases were actually less effective for them. Novices showed no clear preference. Any positive phrase helped, but experienced athletes needed something that resonated, something they truly believed. And this makes sense. A phrase like, "you're a winner," might feel hollow if you don't connect with it, but something that means something to you that hits different. For me, I use "I am the hammer," as in I'm the hammer, not the nail. It sounds corny now I said it out loud, but in the middle of a hard effort, thinking that works for me. It's short, it's vivid, it shifts my identity from someone suffering to someone inflicting. Keep it short, one sentence max, often just a few words, because when you're deep in an effort, you don't want to have to recite an entire paragraph to yourself. Keep it positive. Focus on what to do, not what to avoid. Stay strong, not don't give up. The brain processes positive instructions easier. Keep it vivid as well, something that creates a feeling on image, not just an abstract concept. I'm the hammer for me creates a picture. Try hard doesn't. And this is the key thing, you actually have to believe it. If the phrase feels fake, it won't work. It has to resonate with something true about you. And spend time on this. Write down the phrases, test them in training, see what sticks. Some athletes use identity statements like "I'm strong," "I am relentless," "I am built for this." Some use action cues like "push," "one more," "drive," "let's go." Some use perspective shifts. "This is what you trained for. You've been here before. This is where you win." Some will use the second person as well, talking to themselves as you rather than I, like "you've got this. Come on, you can do this." Research suggests this self-distancing can actually reduce the emotional intensity. It's like coaching yourself from the outside. Sometimes some athletes will even use their own name. Like if I was to think to myself, like, "come on, Matt, stay strong," that might feel strange, but studies show it can actually be effective for some people. Now, there is no universal right answer, no universal phrase. The right phrase is the one that works for you. There's also this thing called the counter statement technique. So one of the most effective methods is pre-preparing responses to your negative thoughts. You know what your brain says when you're hurting. The doubts are predictable. They're usually the same every time, like, "oh no, I've gone out too hard. I can't maintain this. People are passing me. My legs are done." Instead of waiting for those thoughts to come and hoping you can fight them off at the time, pre-prepare counter statements in advance. "I've gone out too hard." The counter might be, "I pace well in training. I can't maintain." The counter for this might be, "I've held this pace before, 1K at a time. Everyone is passing me." The counter might be, "Run my own race, stick to the plan. My legs are done." The counter might be, "Legs always hurt at this point. Get over it. Keep turning them." Write these down, know them, practice them. So when that negative thought appears, and it will, you've got a response ready. You're not scrambling for an answer. You catch the thought, dispute it, replace it. This is essentially CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, applied to sport in that moment. Catch, dispute, replace. If it works in the clinic, it works on the road. The athletes who master this have a faster recovery from negative spirals. They don't let a single bad thought become 5 bad thoughts, become backing off the pace, become quitting. They intercept it early, counter it, move on. External motivation doesn't work for everyone. Here's something that took me a little while to understand about myself. I don't like people cheering for me from the roadside. You know, when you're going past them, maybe you get a cheer, but if it's in the crowd every lap, "Matt, go on, Matt." I know that sounds ungrateful, but it's true. When someone shouts encouragement at me mid-race, it pulls me out of my focus. It feels intrusive. I lose my rhythm. I used to think there was something wrong with it. Everyone else seems to thrive on crowd support. The conventional wisdom is that external motivation helps, but actually this connects to how self-talk works. Some athletes draw energy from outside. Crowds, coaches, competitors, that's legitimate. It works for them. Other athletes have a very internal focus. They perform best when they're inside their own effort, focus inwards and in control of their own narrative. Self-talk is internal motivation. It's motivation you generate about yourself on demand whenever you need it. No crowd required. Now, if you're someone who gets distracted or uncomfortable with external noise, self-talk might even be more important to you. It's the thing that you can control, the voice that's always available, regardless of whether or not anyone's watching or cheering. The point isn't that external motivation is bad, it's what you need to know what works for you. And either way, you need internal tools because at 3 a.m. in an ultra on a quiet bit of road when no one's watching you, the only voice you've got is your own. Make sure it's saying the right things. Everything I've said so far is useless if you don't practice it. Self-talk is a skill. You can't expect to deploy it perfectly in a race if you've never used it in training. The athletes in the research studies didn't just hear about self-talk and then perform better, they practiced it. They rehearsed their phrases during hard efforts for weeks before the test. So here's how to integrate it into your training. Pick 2 or 3 key workouts per week where you deliberately use self-talk. The hard sessions, the ones where you'd normally suffer and just get through it. In those sessions, have your phrases ready. Use them at points where the effort peaks, the final interval, the last 20 minutes of the long ride, the moment when you want to quit. Say the phrases internally or out loud. Either works. Notice what happens. Does it help? Does the phrase land? After the session, reflect what worked, what didn't. Refine those phrases. Some athletes like keywords on their hand, their stem, their water bottle, a visual cue to trigger the self-talk when they need it. The goal is to make self-talk automatic so that when you're deep in fatigue, you don't have to think about what to say. It's already there. It fires without effort. The research shows self-talk can even counteract mental fatigue. In one study, runners who'd been mentally exhausted by a cognitive task before running were able to maintain their performance, but only if they trained in self-talk. The control group without self-talk saw the usual decline. That means self-talk is most valuable exactly when you need it, when you're tired, when you're depleted, when your natural mental resources are low, but only if you've built the habit in advance. Now, this isn't about pretending the pain isn't there. It's about framing it differently. It's about keeping your brain on your side instead of letting it talk you into quitting the effort. The athletes who do this well describe a feeling of control. Even in maximum discomfort, they're directing their thoughts rather than being dragged around by them. That's the goal, not the absence of suffering, the management of it. So every endurance athlete has that voice in their head during hard efforts. The question is what that voice says. Left to its own devices, it usually says stop, slow down, this is too hard. Self-talk is the skill of taking control. Replacing that default with something useful, it works. It reduces perceived exertion, it extends time to exhaustion, it improves pacing, it helps athletes push through moments that would otherwise break them. Motivational phrases when it hurts, instructional cues when technique is slipping, the voice is always going to be there either way. You might as well make it say something useful, such as saddle up and thanks for joining. See ya.